Well, it's now a week since the Flight 752 disaster, and the shock, grief, and the anger over the 57 Canadian lives lost is still very raw. Tributes have been taking place right across the country, coast to coast to coast, and last night a large crowd gathered on Vancouver's North Shore for a candlelight vigil. Among them, a woman who lost a close friend from Toronto in the tragedy.
Her name is Behnaz Ahmadi, and his son Ramtin Ahmadi. She was very lovely person with big heart.
The tributes will continue today when universities across the country stage a moment of silence that will be at 1 p.m. Eastern. An estimated 46 students, faculty members, and researchers from at least 19 universities died in that missile strike. Well, as families and Canadians continue to mourn those lost this week, a Canada-wide campaign was launched to raise funds for funeral costs. It is called Canada Strong, and the goal here is to raise $1.5 million to cover family members' expenses in the coming days. And it is well on its way. And to tell us a bit more about it is the person who launched it all. Mohamad Fakih is the CEO of Paramount Fine Foods. He joins us right now in studio. So thank you for joining us today.
No, thank you very much for having me and giving me the opportunity to spread the word about the campaign across all Canada. And that's very, very important. So thank you.
Well, let's talk about this campaign. You're trying to raise money here. What's your motivation behind all this?
Well, I mean, I'm a father and I'm a Canadian. And being a father and hearing about all these children that lost their parents and even the parents that lost their children, it actually resonated to me, and it could be any one of us. I couldn't imagine just me receiving that call that I lost my family members. And I understand the cost and the expenses that these people could be faced with, the families and the friends of the victims. So I thought we should do something and take the leadership and come together as Canadian. I mean, the families of a lot of our communities are very proud to accept financial help. But I always say we are one big family, so people should not be really shy or proud to accept some financial help in a situation like this, because we're not strangers. We're a one big family, the Canadian family. And I hope I would see a lot of reaction from the rest of Canada. We're so far at $280,000 within 30 hours, but there is a long way to go. It's very exciting what's happening. It's a great amount for now, but we need the help of everyone.
And you mentioned a few things there, and I'm going to break it up. Let's begin with the costs, and that might surprise people because certainly we know the grief, at least we are getting a sense of the grief and the loss and how it is hurting people right now. But there are these practicalities that they have to deal with, and that's what you mean with costs. So tell us a bit more about that.
Well, I mean, the funerals, for sure, 100%, it's a big cost. Especially in some communities, the funerals, like you need to bury them, you need to buy the land and all this. And as well, education. I mean, I heard the story in BC, this young lady was left behind here to finish some of her exams, and her entire family died. Like, we want to make sure that the victim's family feel that we all came together as a bigger family to stand beside them and make sure that the other side of their life, that we could make sure that it's not affected, because a big part of their life did get affected. I just can't believe that it could have been me or any one of us.
Mm-hmm. And really, you know, this is a Canadian story. It has touched just about every province, communities coming together, Canadians of all different backgrounds stepping forward. But you also talked about this sense of not wanting to go to someone for help, almost this pride that people have to overcome in getting help. Talk to us how that is a factor in what we're dealing with right now.
Well, absolutely. I mean, a lot of people, a lot of families want, they have that dignity and they want to maintain the self-sufficient side of their life and want to do things for their own. They don't want somebody to give them money, hand them money for any reason. But this is very important that we all come together and provide that money. These people might get money from the government, from the airline, but that money is going to be late. It's going to take time due to bureaucracy. We need to have something available for them now. And yes, people do feel shy to ask for help. And the only way to make them feel that they're welcome to get that help is to make them feel like we're really one family. So I hope people will really spread the word. If you can donate, please donate any money possible. And if you can't, spread the word, because we can all come together. And if we don't come together now, I wonder when would do we? And I think Canadian has come together for almost close to $300,000 over 30 hours. But I would love to see a Canada-wide participation, because we need really to send a message to the rest of the world that Canada will always be a place of hope. And that's why we all came here.
Well, there is this element of what we've seen in the last few days. Yes, obviously this is a tragedy and people are hurting right now, but it is, and I want to get your thoughts on this, it has been, from my perspective, very amazing to see Canadians of all different backgrounds right across the country stepping forward to just be a part of a vigil or to say how sorry they are to someone who's lost a loved one.
That's why I love Canada. That's why I picked Canada, because that's the place that where everyone come together and make you feel welcome and make you feel that your pain is their pain. And when we mourn together. When we celebrate together. And that's the side that we want to send one more time, the message to everyone that Canadian always will stand together against any challenges that we are faced, and we don't leave our fellow Canadians standing alone.
And I have to say, you've had some very high-profile people step forward to support this campaign in the 30 hours that's been launched.
Well, and I'm very thankful to all of them, and I would like much more people to come forward and do it. I've changed my life last 2 days and dedicated to this to make sure that this becomes successful and remain transparent and accountable, because that part is very important. But most importantly is bringing Canadians together to just send that feeling to every single one of us that we will come together for you if, God forbid, one day you will need us.
Mohamad Fakih, a real pleasure to meet you today. Thank you.
Pleasure is all mine. Thank you very much.
And Mr. Fakih is the CEO of Paramount Fine Foods. He has launched the Canada Strong fundraising campaign this Monday. Do stay with us. Much more to come right here on CBC News Network.